This is Theo here, and welcome to Lesson 5 here on Free Code Camp, Responsive Web Design Certification. We are under the Applied Visual Design. This is Lesson 5, so let's go ahead and get started. So we'll be doing lock an element to the browser window with fixed positioning. So the next layout scheme that CSS offers is the fixed position, which is a type of absolute positioning that locks an element relative to the browser window. Similar to absolute positioning, it's used with the CSS offset properties and also removes the element from the normal flow of the document. Other items no longer realize, in quotes, where it is positioned, which may require some layout adjustments elsewhere. One key difference between the fixed and absolute positions is that an element with a fixed position won't move when the user scrolls. The navigation bar in the code is labeled with an ID of navbar. Change its position to fixed. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write a CSS rule, and we're going to say fixed. Okay, so we can sort of see it's out of this flow, right? And that's why this Z index doesn't really take effect. Offset it 0 pixels from top. So we'll say top 0, which means we want it to be at the very top, right? Top of the page. And left 0, right? We want it to be right here. There's the lack of impact to the H1 has been pushed down to accommodate, and we need to be adjusted separately. Let's go ahead and run these tests. Good to go, and we'll go on to the next challenge here. Okay, so push elements left or right with the float property. So this isn't used too much anymore, to be honest, but especially with stuff like Flexbox, but let's go ahead and go over it. So the next positioning tool does not actually use position, but sets the float property of an element. Floating elements are removed from the normal flow of a document and pushed to either the left or right of their containing parent element. It's commonly used with the width property to specify how much horizontal space the floated element requires. The given markup would work well as a two-column layout with the section and aside elements. Side is a common HTML tag next to each other. Given the ID of left item give the ID left item float of left. Okay, so we're going to say flow to left, right? We want it to be on the left, and right, we want it to basically just float to the right, which should push it over to this side. Go ahead and run that. Good to go. Number 3. So change the position of overlapping elements with the Z-index property. When elements are positioned to overlap, the element coming later in the HTML markup will, by default, appear on top of the other elements. However, the Z-index property can specify the order of how elements are stacked on top of one another. It must be an integer, a whole number, not a decimal, and higher values for Z-index property, and higher values for the Z-index property of an element move it higher in the stack than those with lower values. Add a Z-index property to the element with the class name of first. Okay, so and set it to 2, right? So basically what this will do is this will overlay this. Cool, let's go ahead and run that. Good to go. Number 4. So now we want to center an element horizontally using the margin property. So another positioning technique is to center a block element horizontally. One way to do this is set its margin to a value of auto. This method works for images too. Images are inline elements by default, but can be changed to block elements when used to display property to block. So center the div on the page by adding margin property to 0. So what we're going to do, we're going to say 0, and this will center it right here. Cool. Good to go. And number 5, what about complementary colors? So here's some complementary colors, and let's change the background color property of the blue and yellow classes to their respective colors. Okay, so what we can do here is change this to blue, which will be F and F, and we will change yellow to be FFF00. And did I do that wrong? FFF, sorry. 00, and we're good to go. Run the test. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in lesson 6. Have a great day. Take care.